How would $100,000 a year in passive income change your life? How would it change your business? Would you take on fewer of the clients that are hard to work with? Would you spend more time with your family? Would you sleep easier at night knowing that have a good idea of how much money is coming in the next month and not waiting on specific commissions? I mean, these are real questions, and this is exactly what we're talking about today here with Malcolm Lawson, who has exactly that, and it's growing. And the best part is, I mean, he's only been a part of Real Brokerage, which is providing that passive income to him, for 3 years. So imagine what you can do in 3 years or 5 years. This is a pretty special opportunity right now with Real Brokerage. And Malcolm's sharing exactly that. We're talking a lot about Real Brokerage, and we're also talking about the aspects that I really treasure about Malcolm, which are his attraction methods for his clients, and then also for agents into Real. There's so much to learn from Malcolm in the spirit of putting value out there via content in video and article form, and without expectation, just delivering abundant value to the world, and then good things coming. Clients coming in the form of his real estate practice, and agents coming in and being attracted to Real Brokerage as a result. And there's a tremendous amount to learn from Malcolm. So if you get the chance, check out next-genagents.com and also check out his YouTube with the same title as well. And without further ado, let's get into the interview with Malcolm. Hey, Malcolm, welcome to the show.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks for having me here. I'm super excited. I'm always down for talking about real and real estate.
Yeah, and as one of Real's newest agents, I'm super excited to talk to you. You were honestly a big part of the reason I joined. A little hindsight, I was at EXP. I think it's a great company. And then I learned about Real, and without diving too much into it, I just kind of got sold on it. And I'm just so curious about you because you've provided a tremendous amount of educational content to me to help me understand why Real is a good choice. But not to focus on Real right now. I really want to just understand you and your story of, you started at Keller Williams. How long were you at Keller Williams before you came to Real?
Yeah, well, I can go back a little bit before that too, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So I did 11 years in the Air Force, and my son was born in 2015, and he has very severe intellectual disabilities and autism. And I was at the in the Air Force. I was actually working at the White House at the time, and I used to travel around the world with Obama and Biden. And obviously, it put a lot of stress on my marriage, and I have no control over my schedule whatsoever. And so I decided to get out of the Air Force in 2017. And that's when I got into real estate. I needed a job with very flexible hours where, I had control over my own schedule. And so I got my license in 2016 and I joined Keller Williams. And I really joined because I was just a big fan of Gary Keller. I read The One Thing, I read The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, his book Flip, his book Hold. I read all of his books and I really respected like his leadership. And so I joined in 2016, got out of the Air Force 2017, and went full time as a real estate agent. And I kind of hit the ground running. And it's a hard industry to break into. I had zero sales experience, zero marketing experience, but somehow I got through that first year, and then kind of the second year and third year, everything just got a little bit better and better. And so that's kind of how I found myself at Keller Williams around 2020, 2021. I just wasn't feeling it anymore. I was started looking for other opportunities. I don't want to say anything negative about Keller Williams, but I just didn't quite mesh with the technology that they have there. I didn't quite mesh with the culture that they have there. I really wanted more, and I wanted to grow my company. And I remember one of the things that really frustrated me was that I was starting to do YouTube videos, and for real estate back in 2016, back in 2017, and I wasn't getting any kind of training or anybody else doing that at the company. And I actually started going out of the company to find a community. And I found it through Facebook groups, and I got connected with a community of agents really focused on doing video. And I made a lot of really great relationships in these groups. And like the main one was RETV. And that was like 2016, 2017. And then I actually ended up creating my own community, the Real Estate YouTube Mastermind Facebook group. We're almost at 20,000 members now. And I just built a lot of relationships with other agents that are really pioneering these different business models and experimenting and figuring out what's working today and how to leverage video. And in 2021, a few of these friends of mine came over to Real Broker. And, I was already kind of questioning Keller Williams if that's the best fit for me or not. I found myself on a video call with Tamir, the CEO of Real Broker, and he kind of explained his vision for the company. And at that time, Real Broker was about 2,000 agents. We're in about 30 states. And kind of the mantra at the time was like, Real Broker is not the best brokerage in the world, but Real Broker is going to be the best brokerage in the world. This was 2021. And yeah, after talking to Tamir and seeing the type of talent that came over to Real, like I hopped on board. I came over to Real, and Real has gotten better and better and better every single year since I've been here. Our technology has gotten better and better and better. Our culture has gotten more and more refined, and and our community just keeps getting stronger and stronger. And I truly believe that Real Broker is the best brokerage out there, period, flat out. I will put Real Broker side by side with any other company, and I am that confident about it. And in fact, I do videos where I invite agents from other companies to kind of promote their brokerage, and you would do a side-by-side comparison because I am that confident that Real Broker is the best brokerage in the world. And I've been here for 3 years now, and like I'm super happy with that decision, and I'm super excited about the future of this company, and but also the future of my own career in business.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so much within Real to grow your business and set yourself up for long-term success. Before we really get into that, because I feel the exact same as you do, and for me, a lot of times it's not the exact current reality, like you said, if maybe this is perfect now, but more it's the trajectory of where is this going, and is the leadership super focused on making this absolutely the best, and because it's an evolving thing. So what's the best now may not be the best in 3 years. And again, is the leadership accessible and wants to hear and humble and wants to continue to evolve? And I see that so much, I think a lot because it's a kind of a technical or a technological culture. It's like a tech company that is a real estate brokerage essentially. But before we get into that, I'm so curious about your experience with Keller Williams, because before these cloud brokerages really became popular, Keller Williams was essentially the biggest disruptor. And so many people came from conventional Remax or other indie brokerages and came to Keller Williams because there was so much opportunity there. I'm just so curious about what your experience was when you joined it and kind of the good things about it that it offered to you.
Yeah, I mean, so Keller Williams advertise that they're or they used to advertise that they're a training company that happens to sell real estate, and they're a big focus on training and education. The challenge is that you have to pay for all of it. Like their business model, I don't think this is disparaging. Their business model was that you get agents to join, and then they upsell them on coaching and paid classes. And I remember I joined as a brand new agent, and everybody told me to take the bold class of $800 per class, and I did, and it was a good class. But it's not very cheap. And then they kind of sold me on, you need a MAPS coaching, $1,000 a month coaching program. And I remember I signed up for that when I was a pretty new agent, and it was too early. I did not need that at that point in my career. But like as far as positives go with the company, they're they have their 2 annual events, Keller Williams Mega Camp and Family Reunion. I think they're great events. I used to have so much fun going there and networking. I used to learn a lot from those events. At some point they started identifying as a technology company, and they started implementing a bunch of new technology. I wasn't a fan. It didn't really mesh with me. The layout of their technology, I'll say it that way. So I needed a little bit more, I guess, in terms of technology. Yeah, I guess that's what I would say. Like they do have good training there. It's just you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And
So it's, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to
the
cut you off.
yeah, I'm still forming my thoughts. That's why the challenge, with their model is that you have it's a franchise model, and so for the most of the free training you get is only from other agents in your market center. That's the free training that you get. with that. And, like I didn't have anybody in my market center really focus on video and technology like I wanted to focus on. But, I'm still a big fan of Gary Keller. I think he is, a visionary, and I, have a lot of respect for him. I really love all of his books as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I love his books too. That's what initially, I read Millionaire Real Estate Agent and then Millionaire Real Estate Investor.
Yeah.
And I thought it was, yeah, I thought it was like, I love the way he broke it down and thought it was like, and it makes sense to then go into the franchise. And I think then these cloud brokerages are kind of just like the next version, the evolution of the brokerage essentially. And I think especially that one little aspect you touched on of, you're only getting education from people in your market center. So those people have a disincentive to give you good education because you're competing against them. Whereas you join a cloud brokerage and it's like the rising tide raises all ships. Let me educate you, people from all over the country, the world, and bring up our whole company, bring up our stock, bring up our revenue share, so on and so forth.
Yeah, and I think that the stocks and the revenue share have a huge impact on that culture and have a huge impact on that community. Like I, I have a bunch of stock in the company and I have a bunch of rev share, and like I give away free training all the time to other agents at Real because I'm an owner in that company. And I love that model. I love this business model. And it's absolutely the future of the industry. We can see that we're kind of in the early stages of that right now, but now everybody's scrambling to try to adopt some of these business principles into their own models, because this is so clear that it's just the future of the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's really fascinating, when you're established at a company, and it may not be perfect. Like, so your experience at Keller Williams, it's like it was largely good, lots of good education.
Yeah.
You had to pay for it, of course, but then you found yourself, I'm curious, did you found yourself open to the idea of other brokerages? What was that experience like for you while you're rooted at Keller Williams to then explore other opportunities, whether it's EXP or whether it's real?
Yeah, I mean it's tricky because like I was like I drank the Kool-Aid and I was all in on Keller Williams. All my friends were at Keller Williams. We had like private masterminds of other Keller Williams agents with and myself. And I read all of his books, and you go to the family reunion and mega camps, you get all excited, you do all the training, and like I was really ingrained in that. And I wouldn't have. I remember there's other offices that would like try to lure me away, and I really had no interest. I had one other company in my area offer me $50,000 to switch brokerages and join them, and I just still had no interest in that because I was so dedicated to this company. And so it took a lot to actually lure me away. But
Real
just
quick, let me stop you right there. When somebody's waving that $50,000 cash offer, what is it that's keeping you? What is it in that Kool-Aid that's keeping you?
yeah, man. Well, I started looking at it first is $50,000 for me to sign a 5-year agreement with them. I was like, okay, well, it's only $10,000 a year. That's one big commission a year. Is it really, am I gonna, what if I just, is it really that much of a value? I mean, I don't want to say that like there's a cult vibe over there, but like there's some elements. If you read Primal Branding, for example, there's a lot of those primal branding elements in that company. Primal
Yeah.
Branding talks about how, build a big brand, you need to have a strong leader, a strong origin story. You need to have phrases and words that only people in your community understand. You need to have an other, some kind of like enemy.
Yeah.
And I remember Gary Keller used to bash EXP all the time.
Mm.
He'd go up on this stage in front of thousands of agents and just start bashing EXP and how terrible this model is. And I remember specifically him saying that something like to the effect of, well, getting free stock in the company isn't going to do any good when the stock goes to zero. And he said that. And then I remember like a few months later, the stock like tripled and quadrupled in price. And that's when I kind of like the first chink in the armor, when I
Uh-huh.
really started kind of questioning, like, oh, wait a second, like he's wrong about this prediction. Like, I wonder if he's biased when he is kind of bashing these models. And yes, obviously he is. And yeah, so like I definitely had a hard time pulling myself away, but I had a kind of this other strong community of agents focused on video. Brad McCallan and Tim Macy, Katie Day, Bob Tompkins, is friends with all of them well before Real Broker. And I saw them kind of making this move, and it's like, okay, well, I really respect these people. I respect what they're doing. They're innovating, and they're all coming over here. Like maybe it's worth my time actually looking into this and having a conversation, with the CEO of the company.
Yeah, interesting. So it's like you're a devout disciple, so to speak, and then all of a sudden there's a chink in the armor, and then it starts to open you up to, maybe there are better options. And then there's some trusted people in your life that move over, and then that kind of sparks like, okay, let me check out what they're looking into. And what was that experience like for you? Was it what did you look at for real, and what became kind of the tipping point that allowed you to then say, okay, I'm going to go from my comfort zone to this new place?
Yeah, I mean the big thing is the community. Community is really important, and I run a community of 20,000 agents on YouTube or on Facebook, and like I would describe the community at Real very similar to one of these Facebook group communities, like really good ones, where like we have a really positive and helpful culture at the company, and everybody's very supportive and sharing information and collaborating. Like those aspects that I really valued, and I found in other places, like we were finding that at Real, and I never really got that at the other company that I worked at before. And that was very, very alluring to me, just that community and the culture. And then, also I'm a big, technology. Technology is a future. You can't run your business without technology. And I really wanted a company that was cutting edge technology and that is innovating.
Yeah.
Real has a culture of innovation. Every quarter, we're innovating and doing something that new that I've never seen before in the industry. And I love that culture. And we are just constantly innovating. This Q2 of this year, we're rolling out a credit card and debit card. And you hear them talking about it, leadership, and it makes so much freaking sense. And like nobody's ever done that before. And they're just kind of pioneering the way in this industry, and others are following them. And I love being part of, the kind of the rebels and the innovators and the pioneers in this space who are, trying new things and are kind of the trend setters, not necessarily the trend followers.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That technology is huge. And just the belief in the direction of like, that technology is the future, and then that the leadership is blazing that trail. So it's like, okay, I can rest easy and follow in, and then provide, my feedback as I have it for them, but then just like we're on a good path.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I love the leadership that we have here. I think we have very strong leadership. I love the innovation in them, and they're I'll give Sharon and Tamir credit that they have an idea and then they execute on the idea. None of this wish-washy back and forth. No, they have an idea. How soon can we execute on that? Let's give it a try. And I love that model. And yet you just kind of see that all the time. Like they're that's the model to innovate and like push forward is just execution. Yeah, and I think we've got fantastic leadership at this company, and they're very cutting edge and very sharp.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, okay, there's two other facets that I want to get into.
All right.
The next one is well, what originally brought you is, Brad McCallum and other content creators, and a lot of what I'm focusing on is um, basically how you can deliver value, create content in all forms, or create events in your community that you show up with value and you serve, and without expectation of return. And then through that, you get clients and basically agent attraction or client attraction. And so I'd just be curious, this culture of attraction, like that you're creating for your clients and also bringing in other agents to Real, how is that culture here at Real? What's your experience with that and other creators?
Yeah, I mean, it is all about just giving value. That is the best way to attract people is by giving value, not trying to, cold call people or like spam them. Just provide as much free value as you can. I mean, Gary Vaynerchuk talks about this in Jab, 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 Left Hook. You provide value, provide value, provide value, and then you can have some kind of call to action. The book, The Go Giver, talks about this, just providing free value to people, just giving their best stuff away for free. Alex Hormozi talks about this, that he wants the stuff that he gives away for free to be more valuable than the stuff that his competitors are charging for. And so Reels just really adopted this model of like we just give away value. And I think it's a winning strategy. And I try to do that with my content. I just as much value as I can. The more value I can give to people for free, the more it's going to come back to me in the end. And again, like when it comes to internally to Real, like we all own stock in this company, so there's like an incentive for us to provide as much value as we can to the rest of the community. And I love that incentive. Like we found a way to incentivize an amazing culture. And you look at other models, there is no incentive to have for the individual agent or the brokers to provide that amazing culture. At Real, we have that like incentive because of the revenue share, because of the stock in the company. And it has a huge, huge impact on the culture and the community and the training that we receive here at Real Broker.
I think that's the biggest game changer in these cloud brokerages is that you get access to stock and you get access to the revenue share. Because, I mean, when you look at any other brokerage, yeah, apples to apples, you might save a little bit of money on commissions, but even at Real, I don't think you will. And of course, there's all the breakdowns. But at the end of the day, I mean, what you want to build, if you ask any agent what their retirement plan is, I mean, I think that's really when the conversation starts of,
Yeah.
well, I'm going to earn enough commission, so I'm going to buy real estate. So it's basically like I'm going to work a job so I can buy real estate, which is a good strategy and definitely should be done. But also it's like, well, why not have stock in the company? Why not attract other agents into the company and earn revenue from them? It's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, most agents have zero retirement plan. Zero. Like they earn a commission, they usually spend it right away. We don't have 401k plans or anything like that. And if you're going to have a 10-year career somewhere, you should have it somewhere where you earn stock in the company. And there's several companies doing that now. Like if you're not earning free stock in the company that you're committing your life to, you really got to evaluate that. And then, yeah, like you pointed out, the multiple streams of income into your business. Not only does it make your quality of life more sustainable and better currently, but you're planning for your future. Again, if you're going to have a 10-year career, by the end of 10 years at Real Broker, you can have a boatload of free stock and it's in an industry that is going to do very well, cloud brokerages. And if you were focused on agent attraction, you brought in some agents, you can finish your career receiving passive income, which you can retire from, step out of production and continue to receive, and I absolutely love this model. Like this model is the future of the real estate industry. And we are seeing a lot of momentum with the adoption of this model. Just over the last 12 months, the momentum of this adoption has been huge. And there is like an early incentive to adopt this model, right? The early adopters are going to get a better return on this investment than late adopters to this business model. So there's kind of that kind of cool incentive there as well. But yeah, absolutely, man. Like we need to be planning for our futures, and having multiple streams of income into your business is just going to make it much more sustainable and secure for a lot of for all agents, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of people hear about, the stocks, I think people understand. It makes sense. It's like, oh yeah, of course I want to get stocks. And then the stock goes up and increases in value. It's a no-brainer. I think the revenue share is such a unknown for people, or people will say, oh, it's a pyramid scheme. And so I'm just curious to understand, like, when you got into Real, never having experience with revenue share, and then starting to bring agents under you and starting to build, pretty nice substantial income for yourself, a passive income for yourself that's willable and you can pass it on. And what was that experience like for you? Did it almost seem like, oh wait, this is actually possible? Like, what was it before you earned any, had any agents come in before you to where you are now?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a growing curve to that, a learning curve to that, because I really didn't. When I was at Keller Williams, I tried doing. They have something called profit share, nowhere near as good.
Totally.
Unfortunately, the brokers would fudge the numbers a little bit to not pay out profit share. They have the ability to do that at Keller Williams, but I tried recruiting agents to Keller Williams for a long time, and I just had a heck of a time doing it. I never got anybody to actually come over there. And it's funny, like I came over to Real and it wasn't quite, my focus. I didn't really have any experience with it, but I attracted people to me. People would reach out to me just through Facebook, like personal relationships, like, oh, I saw you went over Real, tell me about it. Um, And like that's how I really started getting momentum. My first handful of people to join me, they reached out to me, seeing me go over to them. And a part of that is like I used to provide a lot of free value to people. I used to provide a lot of free training and education about YouTube to real estate agents through my Facebook groups and everything. And it built a lot of relationships. And so when they saw me move, a lot of people reached out. And that's kind of how I got the ball rolling with that. And then, once you start getting $1,000 a month in rev share, you're like, whoa, wait a second. Maybe I need to start taking this a little bit more seriously. Like this could actually grow and turn into something pretty substantial. And so I'm now at 3 years in the company and I'm making $100,000 a year passive income just from rev share alone. And like that has been life changing. It absolutely been life changing that I can now have a choice, what clients I work with, how many deals I want to close, when I take appointments, when I don't. Like that passive income has allowed me to spend more quality time with my son and just like take back control over my life. And I'm still doing deals. I got, one listing right now and got one buyer under contract, but I'm much more selective about what buyers I take on and, which ones I don't. They have to be at a good price range, have to be within my area. And this rev share has given me that freedom and that flexibility to kind of choose who I work with and what hours I work.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, just the fact that that can be an option for you, and it will continue to grow, which I think is so special. I mean, this
We're,
is just
yeah, we're only at the beginning here. This is the first
right.
inning. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, to give people some context, how many agents are in Real now?
16,000 agents are at Real Broker right now.
Yeah, and so for some other context, the quote unquote cloud leader of EXP is probably at 80 odd thousand.
I think they're below 90 now. I think they're back down to 89,000. Yeah, they lost a couple of thousand agents last quarter, but I think they're somewhere 88, 89,000.
Yeah, and there's probably on the order of 1.5 million agents licensed in NAR in North America or in the
Yeah,
U.S.
in the
currently,
US.
right?
Yep.
And so, it's I think as people start learning about these cloud brokerages and, learning which ones are the best, it's kind of a no-brainer. And there's going to be this mass influx of agents over the next 4 or 5 years. So if you can kind of get in on this and help shepherd people over, I mean, you can set yourself up for a long way. And even if you're not super motivated about bringing people over, you can just kind of earn the most money that you would at any other brokerage in a great culture.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like we are on the precipice of a mass migration of agents from franchise models and independent brokerages to cloud brokerage models. And leveraging technology in our platform, we just have so many advantages and so much more cost efficient for Real Broker. And they pass those savings on to the agents here. And Real has done it right, and they prioritize culture. They prioritize having a positive culture and helpful community in addition to having amazing technology and saving money for the average agent as well. But if you wanted to focus on rev share and you wanted to help assist, these hundreds of thousands of agents are almost certainly coming to cloud brokerages over the next couple of years. It is a huge opportunity. I mean, it is literally a once in a lifetime opportunity for those who are interested in doing that and helping grow this company one agent at a time.
Yeah, and just to give people a little context, I mean, you said you made 100,000 a year with your current reality, your organization. How many people are like in your first line in the first line and just total in your organization, so you can have some understanding of what it takes to get there?
Yeah. So mine is is a kind of unique. So right now I'm up to 230 agents in my entire network. And it's works out to about $100,000 in passive income. And mine's a little unique in that that's actually pretty low. I know agents that have smaller networks and actually make more money than I do. And my type of marketing that I do, I just attract a lot of newer agents and a lot of co-sponsorships. So out of those, I have quite a few. I think I have like 38 co-sponsorships in my tier one. And so total, I think 90 agents in my tier one. I think 38 of them are co-sponsorships. But yeah, I mean, it's, 3 years and I'm up to $100,000 passive income. And I think that's not like an unrealistic, expectation for somebody who's kind of taking this, pretty seriously.
Yeah. So if you could give yourself one piece of advice when you first joined Real after your experience thus far the past 3 years, what would it be?
Wow. Okay. So one piece of advice, like for agent attraction and for like
Well,
building a,
just for you, Malcolm, having, you've been in real 3 years, you've experienced real, you've seen it grow. What would you tell yourself in terms of how you would orient your business model and yeah, just um anything.
yeah. Well, that's the tough one because I feel like I'm in the right place at the right time. I've done a lot of things right. And
Yeah.
I had conviction pretty early on in this company, listening to Tamir talk and seeing the caliber of agents that we're bringing over and seeing the
Mm.
technology and the culture here. Like I had conviction and I knew that this is, if I kind of kept doing what I'm doing, it's going to work out in the end. And I still have conviction. I have more conviction now than I ever have. Real Brokers is constantly winning awards. We won Inman Innovator of the Year for 2023. We won Fast Company Design Award for our technology. This year, we won Inman Power Players for the CEO and President Sharon. The company won Power Player of the Year from Inman. So we're constantly winning awards, man. And like we are growing so quickly. So I don't really have anything else I would have said to myself because I feel like I saw the vision and I saw how this is going to play out and I had absolute conviction in it and I still have absolute conviction that Real Broker is the best brokerage out there. And yeah, we are going to leave our impact on this industry for sure.
Yeah, that's cool. Now, a lot of times when there's rapid growth in any company or yeah, anything, there can be growing pains. Have you experienced any kind of growing pains or any challenges along the way?
Oh, absolutely. When Real was growing. So like when we joined, it was 2,000 agents, lots of growing pains. We were trying to expand into all 50 states. And it took about 3 years to go from 30 states to all 50 states. And there's a lot of growing pains in there. To open up a state, you need to find a broker in that state. And there was, Real would do that. And like some brokers wouldn't work out. You need to scramble, find somebody else. And I feel like all the growing pains are pretty much done with now. We got into all 50 states in October of last year. When I first joined, all the technology that we have right now, we didn't have any of that. We had some other tech that we're using and some software we were paying for, but we've now developed our own technology and multiple iterations of it. And like we were very firmly established. When I joined, we weren't even traded on the NASDAQ. And so at this point, all the growing pains are behind us. I believe that. We're in, I think, 5 provinces in Canada. We're in Washington, D.C., all 50 states. We're listed, publicly traded on the NASDAQ. We're growing about 1,000 agents per month at this point, which is wild to think about that. But yeah, I think all the growing pains are behind us at this point. Like we're pretty firmly established in this industry.
Man, it's such a cool time to join because like all the growing pains are done. I'm sure there's more
Yeah.
little ones, but like, we just got in 50 states 5 months ago,
Yeah.
right? And just positioned for explosive growth. I mean, it's like you get to come in with all the best technology and rapid growth. It's like it's amazing. I feel so fortunate.
This is the time. Yeah, like we are just at the starting line. I feel like we've done all this work just to get to the starting line and now we're really going to explode. And it's
Yeah.
it's super exciting and it's going to be a wild ride to watch over the next couple of years.
Yeah, totally. Now, one thing that really I'm just really impressed by you with is the way you bring people in, whether that's through to Real, but I think also for your Living in Maryland site, of how you bring in clients because you do it all passively. You attract them, you deliver incredible value. I was hoping that maybe you could share some kind of like your model, your process for if you were going to start in a new locale wanting to bring clients into your practice, how would you go about it? And, what would be some of the first articles you would start producing, first videos you'd start producing?
Yeah, I mean, before you talk about like providing value, and like that's all I know. That's all I've ever done is content creation, providing as much value as I can in that content. And I mean that. Like if I'm making a video, I want to provide as much value as I can. Like of course I do. Like that is how you generate leads. That's how you build relationships and establish trust, providing value. And I do that through YouTube videos and I also do it through articles. And I'll sit there and I'll write 1,000. So yeah, I have two websites. One is for agents. Another one is livinginmaryland.com. and I'll write 1,000, sometimes 2,000 word articles about a specific community or a specific city, and like pretty much write relocation guides for this entire city. So here's all my favorite parks in the city. Here's and links to those parks, my favorite restaurants and attractions, schools, shopping centers, all the homes for sale in those communities. And I have links to all of them and pictures. And then I also make a video about all of that as well and embed that. I'm legit thinking like, I want to provide as much value as I can. What else can I do? What else can I give you guys to provide value to somebody that's relocating to that area? And so if I had to pack up and do it all over again, it'd be the same thing. I just create these, guides and these really in-depth articles about cities, about living in them and moving to them, and then create videos to go along with them. And the great thing is like those types of articles and videos, they absolutely can be used for lead generation, but they are also super, super effective at lead conversion, no matter where the lead comes from. If it's an agent referral, a personal friend referral, Facebook ad, whatever it is. If I'm talking to somebody and they're interested in moving to a specific county, and I say, great, here's my 5 videos about all the major cities in those counties, and here's my 5 articles about all those cities with links to additional resources. I am a subject matter expert on that. Like if I can provide that content. So you're saying if I move to a new community, new city, what do? I'm creating content. Content gives you credibility. I may have never sold a home in that city before, but if I'm the one that's creating content about it, that gives me credibility. And it's at the same time, it's also a way for me to learn more about those areas and about those cities as well.
Yeah, there's so much I love about that. One, it's like they're essentially like lead warmers. It's like a lead comes in, doesn't know you at all, and then gets to know, like, and trust you over the course of reading your articles, seeing your
Yeah.
face, listening to you. And man, video is such a funny concept. I remember I started doing podcasts in like 2012. I posted on Vimeo, and I showed up to some conference, and somebody was like, was like, "Oh, you're famous. You're that podcast guy." And it was like such a weird concept where you're producing content, you're standing in front of a camera, so you don't know who's on the other side of that camera for years to come. And
Yeah.
then, but they're getting to know you. They know you. It's like a one-way friendship getting built. And it's a funny concept and it's incredibly powerful.
Yeah. It's massive leverage. Is massive leverage. I look at I've taught classes before about real estate and YouTube and everything, and I think maybe the most I've taught is maybe 100 people in a classroom at one time, and I know what that looks like, and it's kind of anxiety inducing standing up in front of 100
Yeah.
people and teaching a class. And I'll look at some of my videos and my educational stuff. 500 people, 1,000 people, 6,000 people have watched some of my videos about Real Broker. And I just try to envision like, what the heck I know what 100 people looks like. It's a lot. What is 6,000 people? That's a giant auditorium right there that are watching my content. Like this is massive leverage. And they're watching stuff of me just sitting in my home office, filming a video. It is it is the ultimate leverage right there.
Yeah.
It's one-to-many communication. And if you can leverage that in your business, it is incredibly powerful.
Yeah, it is. It's incredibly powerful. And one thing I really like about your process is you produce videos, but almost as a way of like outlining, scripting your video, you're also developing content. So you're writing this huge, beautiful article. You've got good graphics, you've got good headings. It lays out and organized very well. And then when you're all said and done with it, then you go produce the video, which I think is absolutely brilliant as a process.
Yeah, that's it, man. Is I think that there's a lot of synergy between videos and articles. First off, like if you have an article and you want it to rank in Google, having a video in the article is one of the best ways to get your content to actually rank on Google. Google, one of the factors they look at is if somebody clicks on your link to go to your page, how long are they on your page for? And if they're sitting there watching a 10-minute long video on your page, then Google just sees that they're on there for 10 minutes. So a lot of synergy with that. And then on YouTube, I often say, sometimes I call to action and be like, hey, if you want to see the complete guide or article I wrote about the city as well, along with additional links and resources, link down to the article down below. So sometimes I'll send people to the article from the YouTube video. But yeah, it is just massive leverage right there. And it's just, it's a great way to provide a lot of value. And so I used to write the do the video, and then I'd write an article about it. And then I would always find like, oh, I was researching this and I should have included this, or oh, I should have phrased it this way. And so I really found that if I write the article first and I really think about it, I can go back and edit and change things, really flesh out my thoughts. Then I can create a YouTube video after that. So one video I'm working on right now, 10 benefits to Real Broker that you never knew about. I may work on that title a little bit, but we have a bunch of benefits that don't really get talked about very much. And I'm going to write a full article about it so I can really take my time, think about it, research it, come up with like images and everything for it. And then I'm going to turn that into the video afterwards. And essentially use it as an outline or a script for my video. And I love that workflow. I don't always have the discipline to do it, but that really is best practices in my opinion. And then you get two pieces of content out of it as well.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's beautiful. And I think when you told me that the other day, it just clicked for me. It's like, oh, of course. Like I'm already doing this. Why wouldn't I just produce this first? And
Yeah.
it does take a discipline because the videos are fun to make, but yeah.
Yeah. And if you're creating a script for a video, you're 80% of the way to having a good article, just publishing it and formatting it a little bit differently, and you'll have that article, so you
Yeah,
might as well.
totally.
So no brainer.
Awesome. And then I'd love to just end with what are kind of your tools of the trade in terms of producing videos and website content for living in Maryland or for your agent interaction?
Yeah, so for living in Maryland, I'm using Easy Agent Pro. And they're kind of really focused on blogging. I actually want to get away from them. I want to just get a WordPress website myself and like pay
Mm-hmm.
somebody to set it up for me. I want that flexibility and that customization that I'm not getting with them right now. But I've also used Squarespace websites in the past, and I've had luck getting those to rank on Google as well. And then for editing, I use Adobe Premiere. I have a MacBook Pro, which I use. And I've edited most of my own videos. Just recently, I started hiring editors, maybe the last 6 months or so. Um, and I'm trying to do one edited YouTube video a week, one interview a week, and I want to get to a point where I'm doing 30 YouTube shorts or like Instagram reels and short form content. And I realized that one editor is not enough to do that. So I actually have two editors right now. I'm trying to get into the flow of doing that much content right now in order to achieve that. And then for
30 shorts per week?
month, so one a
Per
day.
month. One a day.
And if I do 4 interviews, and the interviews are 30 minutes a piece, and like my editor chops those up into shorts, he should be able to get 15 shorts out of 4 interviews. And then the other 15 short form content I need to come up with myself somehow.
Mm-hmm.
That's my goal. And what I really like doing is I have a Facebook group, and I like answering people's questions in video format and then turning that into a reel. And
So,
then go ahead.
so you mentioned that earlier. So when you respond, so say I'm on the Facebook thread,
Mhm.
somebody's got a question. Will you then post it as a short and then send the link of it in the comment, or how do
No,
you do it?
no. On YouTube or on Facebook, your comment can be a video. So
Okay.
instead of typing out a comment, record a video and post that video as a comment on Facebook. And it looks cool. And I tell you, man, people are so appreciative of it. Like, oh my
Mm.
God, thank you, Malcolm, for like taking your time to answer that question, not just leaving a little comment. But if I'm recording a video and doing that, then I also repurpose the video as a reel, a vertical reel later on as well.
Okay, cool. Because then you'll use that content to say, oh, responding to this question for anybody who's interested as a real YouTube short. Put it in
Yeah,
there.
like if I think that it's a good question that other people may also have, I'll do that. And I'll show you an example because I do them all the time, and I'm trying to get into the habit of doing that once a day. So like let's see if this works. But I use CapCut, and I'll take a
Mm-hmm.
screenshot of their question. I use CapCut on my phone, which is an editing software that's free, and I'll record my video, put the image above, and then CapCut will add the captions. Um, and I do these pretty often. You can kind of see how many. So there's one there, there's one there, and it's just me trying to help people
Yeah.
out, provide more value. And so personally, I'm trying to get to a point where I'm doing every day, I'm uploading some kind of Instagram reel. I just got to get my editors to help me out with that and get to, where they're consistently and timely manner giving me at least 15 of those a month. So that's my personal goals when it comes to content creation. I'm actually not quite there yet. And then I want to do 2 articles a month as well. So I'm kind of like, truthfully, most of my career I've spent just kind of all over the place, sporadically uploading content when I have free time, but I'm trying to get more consistent with that, and having 2 editors, I think, can help me out with that a lot.
Yeah, oh, that's awesome, man. Thank you so much for everything, Malcolm. For people who found, tremendous value like I have from you, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, I mean, you can go to my website, next-genagents.com. And then on there, I have a bunch of resources and articles for real estate agents as well. You can check out while there.
Cool. Well, thanks again for taking the time.
All right, man. It's great talking to you. Good conversation.
Okay, how'd you like the interview with Malcolm? Now, this is obviously our first interview with the channel. Let me know what you think about it. Malcolm's incredible. He has so much value to offer. This interview is just a fraction of what he has to contribute. So if you want to see more from Malcolm, make sure you check out his website, next-genagents.com, and his YouTube with the same name. And if you're interested in joining Real Brokerage, you can click a link below and schedule a call with me, and we can chat all about it. And then if you have any feedback for the videos, anything you want to see, any specific content, you just let me know in the comments below. And until next time, this is Luke Callahan with Attraction Agents. Take care.